Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Have you ever wondered why you are the way you are, not just in your mind or spirit, but in your very biology? What if I told you that the very blood that flows through your veins carries more than oxygen and cells? What if it carries memory, temperament, and a symbolic code that could unlock patterns you've been wrestling with your entire life? Why does your life feel like a cycle you can't break? Why do you attract the same emotional dynamics, carry the same internal conflicts, or feel pulled toward particular fates you didn't consciously choose? Comment below if you've ever sensed that something within you, far older than your choices, is guiding your path. Let us begin with something often overlooked: the sacred mystery of blood. In ancient tradition, blood was more than physical. It was spirit, identity, covenant, sacrifice. Blood was believed to carry ancestral memory, karmic imprints, and psychic resonance. And though science may speak of blood types in terms of antigens and Rh factors, we must not forget that beneath every scientific description lies a symbolic archetype waiting to be revealed. So what is the meaning of your blood type? It begins not with what is measured, but what is mirrored in the depths of your inner life. Consider how every type has distinct biological tendencies. But now, imagine those biological structures as reflections of psychological tendencies as well. Blood type O is said to be the original, the survivor, the leader, the warrior, often passionate, driven, with strong immunity and resilience. But psychologically, this may also mean a soul attuned to primal survival energy. You may struggle with anger, competition, or control. You might feel drawn to lead, but exhausted by the loneliness that comes with it. Your inner work is to temper strength with humility, passion with peace. You are here to learn how to wield power with compassion. Blood type A, sensitive and cooperative, often shows lower stomach acid, heightened stress sensitivity. But what if this sensitivity reflects a psychic imprint? Perhaps you carry the archetype of the mediator, the empath, the sacrificial one. You feel everything too much, too fast, too deeply. Your struggle is often internal overthinking, guilt, shame. You avoid conflict to preserve harmony, even at your own expense. But your spiritual invitation is courage to feel and act, to stop bleeding for everyone else's wounds, to know your worth beyond peacekeeping. Blood type B, the creative, the flexible, often shows greater adaptability and independent thinking. But that independence may come at a cost: detachment, non-conformity, a hidden sense of loneliness or rebellion. You may feel like you never quite belong, yet cannot stop questioning why others follow so blindly. Your challenge is integration, to stay open without losing your core, to balance innovation with grounding. Blood type AB, rare and complex, combines the extremes of A and B. Psychologically, you may embody the paradox, both deeply feeling and highly rational, both social and introverted. Others don't know where to place you, and often neither do you. You are the mirror of duality, and your path is one of deep inner reconciliation, not to fit in, but to unify the split within. Now ask yourself, does your blood type explain everything? No, but does it reveal something? Absolutely, and because it brings to surface a pattern, an imprint which, when explored symbolically, reveals your task, your suffering, and your power. You were not born at random, and the blood you carry is not incidental. Just as astrology uses the stars and psychology uses dreams, your blood can be seen as a living archetype, one that shapes your instincts, your wounds, your tendencies, and your potential. And once you understand that, your life takes on a different texture. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What does my nature ask of me?" This is not about fatalism. It is about fate as a relationship, destiny as dialogue. You are not your blood, but you are shaped by what it carries. Just like the unconscious,
Blood speaks in symbols, and the moment we stop pathologizing our nature and start interpreting it, we gain power.
What does your fatigue mean? What does your sensitivity mean? What do your repeated patterns in relationships, ambition, and pain mean? Could they be tied not only to trauma but to temperament? Not just to memory but to chemistry? Not just to biography but to biology that speaks a deeper psychological language? You see, modern psychology often splits the soul and the body, but I have long argued that psyche and soma are two sides of the same whole. What you repress emotionally, the body expresses somatically, and what your body carries from generations past may reveal unresolved psychic material. So when someone says, "I'm always anxious, but I don't know why," look at their blood type, but look at the temperament and look at the ancestral line. Perhaps you are not just carrying your own anxiety, or perhaps you are wired to feel more, to process more. And instead of seeing that as a flaw, we must see it as a gift with a cost. Every blood type carries its own burden. For the O types, it is the burden of instinct, the constant drive to survive, protect, achieve. The cost is burnout, rigidity, and rage. For the A types, it is the burden of emotional absorption, feeling everyone's pain, neglecting their own needs. The cost is illness, repression, and exhaustion. For the B types, it is the burden of the outsider free thinking, but often misunderstood. The cost is isolation, inconsistency, and alienation. For the AB types, it is the burden of inner conflict duality without a clear identity. The cost is confusion, disassociation, and spiritual fatigue. But within every burden lies the seed of transcendence. Your task is not to escape your blood, it is to embody its wisdom consciously, to befriend your nature, not battle it, to understand your instincts, not suppress them, to see your shadow, not project it. Because every blood type corresponds to a part of the collective psyche, and we are each expressions of that totality. When you suffer, the world suffers with you, and when you heal, the collective heals too. So let us stop trying to be someone else. Let us stop comparing.
Let us stop fighting our unique configuration.
Instead, let us ask, what does my body know that my mind has forgotten?
What has my blood remembered that my spirit longs to understand?
Because in that remembering, something beautiful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to live in harmony with your constitution. You stop chasing a life that was never yours, and you begin to shape the life that was. The fatigue you feel, it's not just from effort, it's from misalignment. The pain you feel, it's not just from trauma, it's from resisting your design. The longing you feel, it's not weakness, it's your soul asking you to come home. Come home to your nature, to your patterns, to your psychic language. You do not need to be fixed. You need to be understood. And when you see yourself clearly, not just through the lens of psychology or biology alone, but through the marriage of both, you will remember who you were before the world told you who to be.
You are not broken.
You are patterned. You are not chaotic. You are coded.
And your blood, your dreams, your choices, they all conspire to reveal this truth.
You have always been worthy.
Not despite your nature.
But because of it, so many of you wander through life asking, why do I feel so different? So out of place, so unseen, you try to blend into a world that feels built for someone else's rhythms, someone else's body, someone else's soul. You assume your sensitivity, your reactivity, your temperament must be fixed, that there is something wrong with you. But I tell you, nothing is wrong. What is wrong is how deeply you've been conditioned to ignore your essence. When you were born, you didn't just inherit eye color or a genetic code. You inherited an energetic signature, a blueprint of your being, the way you relate, respond, restore. And the blood that runs through you is a living metaphor of this blueprint. It is a current, a circulation, a reminder that your inner life is always flowing, always carrying the story of who you are. Think of your blood type as a mirror of your soul's task in this life. For O types, the task is to lead, to pioneer, but also to learn how to soften and let go. For A types, it is to feel and heal, but also to learn how to hold boundaries and protect one's core. For B types, it is to create and explore, but also to commit, to integrate. For AB types, it is to synthesize the paradox, to hold tension without disintegration, and ultimately to find clarity through complexity. But here is the most important revelation: your blood is not just your own. It is ancestral. It is ancient. It carries memory not only of your lineage, but of the collective human story. And that means the struggle you carry is not just yours to bear, it is yours to transform. Have you noticed that certain patterns repeat in your family? Certain illnesses, certain personality traits, emotional tendencies, relationship wounds. You may call it genetics, but I would ask, what if genetics is only the surface? What if, beneath the biology, lies the soul's unfinished work? What if your body is carrying what your ancestors could not integrate? You were born with this blood for a reason. Perhaps you are the first to awaken, the first to ask why, the first to break the cycle.
That is no small task.
To hold a pattern so deeply embedded in your flesh and choose to face it, not repeat it, that is alchemy, that is individuation, that is the work of the soul. And yet, the world will not always honor your effort. It may label you difficult, emotional, intense, sensitive, stubborn, lazy, restless, cold, too much. But remember, people will always judge what they do not understand, especially when what they don't understand threatens the illusions they cling to. When you live according to your type, your true type, your natural flow, you may feel isolated at first, because authenticity is rare. But over time, that alignment creates peace so deep, it will no longer matter who misunderstands you. The one who truly knows their nature no longer seeks permission to exist. You begin to eat differently, you rest differently, think differently, because you begin to trust your body's cues. You begin to notice what environments nourish you and which ones drain you. You stop forcing connections that fracture your spirit. You stop mimicking behaviors that belong to someone else's path. You live your own pattern, not because it's easy, but because it's true.
And that truth creates coherence.
Coherence between body and soul. Coherence between instinct and intention. Coherence between who you are and how you live. This is the real meaning of health. Not absence of illness, but the presence of harmony. And harmony is born when you no longer resist your original code. Now let us go even deeper. Each blood type also represents a spiritual wound, a place of fragmentation, and a spiritual gift, the place of healing. O types often carry the wound of rejection, of not being enough unless they're producing, protecting, achieving. They may struggle with feeling lovable when not in motion, but their gift is presence. When they slow down, they become the grounding force others lean into. A types often carry the wound of over-responsibility, the belief that they must fix everything, feel everything, absorb everything. But their gift is empathy in balance. When they stop sacrificing themselves, they become sacred space for others to heal. B types carry the wound of alienation, feeling different, untethered, unseen. But their gift is vision. When they stop apologizing for being unique, they become the spark of innovation and truth in a world that longs for authenticity. AB types carry the wound of inner fragmentation, the constant war between opposing selves. But their gift is integration. When they stop trying to choose a side, they become the bridge between reason and emotion, mind and heart, past and future. So I ask you again, what if your blood is not a limitation, but an invitation to embrace your design, to understand your temperament, to own your instincts, to heal your lineage, to become a conscious carrier of the unconscious story your ancestors could not complete? This is the sacred responsibility of the awakened one, not to erase the blood they carry, but to sanctify it, to turn pain into presence, rage into wisdom, fear into courage. You are not here to mimic the average. You are here to embody the archetype you came to fulfill. And when you do, when you live in coherence with your design, you activate something powerful. Not just personal healing, collective awakening. Because as you honor your nature, you give others permission to honor theirs.
As you speak your truth, you awaken the voice in others.
As you embody your essence, you dismantle the systems that demanded you conform. This is how transformation begins. With a single person who says, "I will not betray my soul to belong." And if you are listening to this now, I believe you are that person. You may still feel afraid. That's human. You may still feel uncertain. That's expected. But deeper than fear, deeper than doubt is a knowing.
A knowing that your life is not random.
That your blood is not accidental.
That your struggle is not meaningless.
That your nature, yes, even the parts you once hid, is holy.
Let this knowing be your guide.
And let your life become the sacred ritual of remembering. You do not need to be someone else. You do not need to be cured. You only need to be revealed.
And your blood, ancient, symbolic, sacred, is the first clue. Follow it, and you will find yourself.